Welcome back to The Little Prince, Part 2, Final Part. If you missed Part 1, check the link in description. Let's get started. Chapter 14. The Lamplighter. The little prince reached another planet. On this planet lived a lamplighter. He had a lamp and a matchbox in his hand. The lamplighter kept lighting the lamp and then blowing it out. He worked without resting. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Why do you keep lighting and blowing out your lamp?" The lamplighter answered, "This is the rule. I must light the lamp at night and put it out in the morning." "But your planet is so small," said the little prince. "Day and night come every minute here." The lamplighter sighed. "Yes, my planet turns very quickly. So I must light and put out the lamp again and again." The little prince felt sorry for him. He thought, at least this man does something useful. His work gives light, not like the king or the businessman. He wanted to stay and be friends with the lamplighter. But the planet was too small for both of them. So he said goodbye and continued his journey. Chapter 15. The Geographer. The little prince reached the sixth planet. This one was 10 times bigger than all the others. Here lived an old man who wrote in big books. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Who are you?" "I am a geographer," the old man replied. "I study where the mountains, seas, rivers, and deserts are." The little prince was curious. "Do you go and see them yourself?" he asked. "No," said the geographer. "That is not my job. Explorers go and tell me. I write down what they say. But first, I check if they are honest." The little prince thought, strange, he knows nothing himself. He only writes. Then the geographer asked, "Tell me about your planet. Are there mountains, rivers?" The little prince remembered his flower. "Should I tell you about her too?" he asked. "We do not note flowers," said the geographer. "They are too short-lived. We only write about things that last forever." The little prince was shocked. "My flower is not forever. She is fragile. She can disappear." He suddenly felt sad and guilty for leaving her alone. But the geographer advised, "You should visit Earth. It has a good reputation." So the little prince decided to travel to Earth next. Chapter 16. The Earth. When the little prince finally came to Earth, he was amazed. It was not like the small planets he had visited before. The Earth was huge. It had 111 kings, 7,000 geographers, 900,000 businessmen, 7.5 million drunkards, 300 million vain men, and altogether, about 2 billion grown-ups. The Earth also had a great number of lamplighters. There were lamplighters for each continent, and also lamplighters for every street. It was very beautiful when all the lamps were lit. But because the Earth was so large, the lamplighters worked at different times. When one side of the world was in darkness, the other side was in daylight. So the lamplighters never rested. They kept lighting and extinguishing lamps again and again. The little prince found this planet very impressive. It was far busier and more crowded than any place he had ever seen. Chapter 17. The Snake. The little prince was surprised when he landed on Earth. Although the planet was so big, he did not see any people at first. He only saw a yellow snake. "Good evening," said the little prince. "Good evening," replied the snake. The little prince looked around. "Where are the people? This desert is so empty." "There are few people on Earth," said the snake. "And among them, they do not always get along." The little prince sat down near the snake. "You are very small," he said. "You look weak." The snake replied, "I am more powerful than a king's finger. Anyone I touch, I can send back to the land they came from." The little prince looked at the snake with curiosity. "You speak in riddles," he said. The snake only smiled. "But I can help you," it whispered. The little prince did not understand yet what kind of help the snake meant. Chapter 18. The Flower. The little prince walked through the desert. He met only one flower there. It was a small flower, with just 3 petals. It looked very simple. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Good morning," said the flower. "Where are all the people?" the little prince asked politely. The flower replied, "People, I think there are only 6 or 7 of them. I saw them years ago. They pass by quickly, and they never stay." The little prince sighed. He still felt very lonely on this large planet. Chapter 19 The Mountain Snow-Capped Mountain. The little prince climbed up a high mountain. It was the tallest mountain he had ever seen. On his asteroid, the volcanoes were as high as his knees. But this mountain was so big, he could not see the top at first. He thought, from up there, I will see the whole planet. And maybe, I will find people. He climbed and climbed until he reached the peak. But when he looked around, he saw nothing. Only rocks. Only empty mountains. Only silence. Hello, he called out. His voice echoed back. Hello. 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 He thought, how strange. On my planet, I had a flower. She always spoke first. But here, no one answers. Only echoes. The little prince felt even more alone. Chapter 20 The Rose Garden. The little prince walked and walked. At last, he came to a garden full of roses. There were 5,000 roses, all alike, blooming together. He stood there in surprise. His own flower had told him she was the only one of her kind in the universe. But here, in front of him, were so many just like her. The little prince felt very sad. He whispered to himself, she would be so offended if she saw this. She would cough and pretend to die. Just to make me feel guilty. He lay down in the grass and cried. He felt small and weak. He thought he was rich because he had one special flower. But now, he saw that his flower was only an ordinary rosé. Chapter 21 The Fox. It was then that the little prince met the fox. Good morning, said the fox. Good morning, the little prince politely replied. Who are you? Asked the prince. You are very pretty. I am a fox, the animal said. Come and play with me, the little prince said. I am so unhappy. I cannot play with you, said the fox. I am not tamed. Oh, please, what does that mean, tame? It means to create ties, said the fox. Right now, you are nothing to me, and I am nothing to you. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world. The little prince thought about this. He remembered his rosé. I am beginning to understand, he said. There is a flower. I think she has tamed me. The fox smiled gently. People have forgotten this truth, he said. But you must not forget it. You become responsible, forever, for what you have tamed. You are responsible for your rose, the fox repeated. The little prince whispered the words to himself, so he would not forget. I am responsible for my rose. I am responsible for my rose. Chapter 22 The Railway Switchman. The little prince next met a railway switchman. He was a man who worked on the tracks, changing trains from one line to another. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the switchman. What are you doing here? Asked the little prince. I sort out travelers, the man explained. I send trains to the right tracks, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. And a train, filled with people, thundered past. It roared like a storm. What are they in such a hurry for? Asked the little prince. Even the engineer does not know, replied the switchman. A second train rushed by, in the opposite direction. They are coming back already? Asked the little prince. No, said the man. They are different people. Are they not satisfied where they were? No one is ever satisfied where he is, the switchman said. The little prince thought for a while. Only the children seemed to know what they were looking for. They press their noses to the glass, he said, and look at their dolls. Only children know what they are searching for. They waste no time. Chapter 23 The Merchant. The little prince next met a merchant. This merchant sold pills that had been invented to quench thirst. If you swallowed one pill a week, you would never feel the need to drink water. Why do you sell these? Asked the little prince. They save time, replied the merchant. Experts have calculated that these pills save 53 minutes a week. And what do people do with those 53 minutes? Asked the little prince. They do whatever they like, the merchant answered. The little prince thought quietly. If I had 53 minutes to spend, he said, I would walk slowly toward a fountain. Chapter 24 In the Desert. It was the 8th day since the narrator's plane had crashed in the desert. He and the little prince had finished their last drop of water. The narrator looked at the little prince. He was pale, tired, but still calm. I am thirsty, said the little prince softly. The narrator sighed. Me too, but there is no water. The little prince thought for a while and then said, let's go and find a well. The narrator was surprised. To walk in the desert at night without knowing where to go seemed hopeless. But somehow, the little prince's words gave him courage. So, they walked. The desert was silent, and the stars above were shining like lanterns. The little prince held the narrator's hand and whispered, "The stars are beautiful, because somewhere there is a flower we cannot see." The narrator looked at him with wonder. He realized how different the little prince's heart was. He saw meaning where others saw emptiness. They kept walking until dawn. When the first light of the sun touched the sand, they saw something shining in the distance. It was a well. The narrator was overjoyed, but the little prince only smiled gently. "You see," he said, "what is important is invisible. What makes a desert beautiful is that somewhere it hides a well." Together, they drew water from the well. The water tasted fresh, pure, and more precious than anything in the world. The narrator thought, "This is not just water, it is like a gift of life, mixed with peace, stars, and the sweetness of friendship." The little prince drank slowly and said, "This is what I was looking for." Chapter 25 The Secret and the Well. The next morning, near the well, the little prince sat quietly. He looked very thoughtful. The narrator repaired his airplane engine, because at last he had found the missing part. Now, he could return home. But his heart was heavy, for he knew the little prince's time with him was coming to an end. The little prince asked gently, "Do you remember what the fox told me?" The narrator nodded. The fox had said, "What is essential is invisible to the eye. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly." The little prince smiled. "Yes, the desert is beautiful because it hides a well. The stars are beautiful because of a flower we cannot see. And people are beautiful when they carry invisible treasures inside them." The narrator felt tears in his eyes. He now understood how deep and innocent the little prince's wisdom was. The little prince added softly, "My star will be different for you. When you look at the night sky, all the stars will laugh, because I will be laughing on one of them. You will have stars that can laugh." The narrator tried to smile, but his heart was full of sadness. He asked, "Little prince, you are talking strangely. You are not afraid?" The little prince looked at him with calm eyes. "What is most important cannot be seen. My flower is waiting for me, and I must return to her." The narrator wanted to say more, but he could not. The desert wind was silent, and he only heard the soft sound of the rope from the well. Chapter 26 The Farewell. The next evening, the little prince walked with the narrator toward the place where the snake had been. His steps were quiet, and his hand held the narrator's gently. The narrator felt his heart breaking. He wished he could stop the little prince. "Don't go," he whispered. But the little prince only smiled sadly. "It will seem like I am suffering. It will seem like I am dying. But it will only be my body. Don't be afraid, my star will comfort you." He sat down, for he was tired. Then he said softly, "You know, my flower is fragile. And she has only 4 thorns to protect herself. I must go back to her." The narrator could not hold back his tears. "Please, little prince, don't leave me." But the little prince was calm. He looked at the desert, then at the sky full of stars. He said gently, "At night, when you look up at the stars, you will hear my laughter. And you will remember me. It will be as if I am still with you." At that moment, the yellow snake slid quietly across the sand. The little prince stood very still. The snake struck swiftly. For a moment, the little prince swayed like a tree in the wind. Then, very slowly, he fell. There was no sound. The narrator rushed forward, but he caught only the little prince's small body. His face was peaceful, as if he were only asleep. The next morning, the narrator could not find the little prince. His body was gone. Perhaps the little prince had returned to his planet, to his rose. The desert was empty again. But now, for the narrator, the stars would never be the same. Chapter 27 The Stars and the Memory. It has been 6 years since the little prince went away. The narrator writes these words now, looking back on that night in the desert. Sometimes, when he looks up at the stars, he hears the little prince's laughter. It is like the tinkling of 1,000 tiny bells in the sky. And he remembers the boy's golden hair, his gentle voice, and the way he cared for his rosé. The narrator says, "When I look at the stars, it feels as if the universe is alive. Somewhere, the little prince is laughing. Somewhere, He is caring for his flower. And somewhere, he is waiting. But then he grows quiet. There is one thing that makes me very sad, he whispers. The sheep. Did it eat the flower? Or did the rose survive? We will never know. And so, the stars are filled with mystery. For some people, the stars are just points of light. But for the narrator, they are full of questions, full of laughter, full of love. Every night when he looks up, he wonders. Is the little prince still out there, smiling, caring, and waiting for me? And with that thought, the story ends, not with certainty, but with hope. Thank you for watching The Little Prince. Complete Story, Part 1 and Part 2. Subscribe for more English stories. Speech Balloon, tell us in the comments. Which part did you enjoy more, Part 1 or Part 2?